Hello and welcome everyone. You're watching yet another brand new edition of Carnival 2014 Brazil. On a day when history repeated itself in what happened in Brazil last night, was beyond explanation. Joining to talk about all the action from that superlative match where the Dutch completely annihilated the Spanish team. We have our esteemed guest panel. Joining me in the studio is former India team manager Eric Benny. Eric, we'll take your comments in just a bit. He's buzzing to give us his opinion of that match. But also joining us, our other football expert, Bangalore FC coach Ashley Westwood, who's joining us from Bangalore. Boria Majumdar, consulting editor, is with us from Kolkata. First up, let's take a look at the headlines. Holland draw revenge for the 2010 final against Spain, demolished the world champions 5-1 in a stunning display of football. Spain drowned in grief after losing to Holland. Captain Iker Casillas apologizes for his shoddy performance, says this was his worst show ever. And another blockbuster lined up in Brazil tonight. Set your alarms for 3:30 a.m. and watch former champions England and Italy battle it out in the first match of the group of death. First up, runners-up of the 2010 World Cup, the Netherlands crushed defending champion Spain 5-1 in the Group B opener. Skipper Robin van Persie and Arjen Robben scored a brace each, while Stefan de Vrij scored his maiden World Cup group goal for the Netherlands. Xabi Alonso scored the sole goal for the Spaniards, but that was really no consolation. Thierry Henry said after this match, the Dutch total football is back. We'll take our guest's opinion on that. But first up, we're also asking our viewers just what they thought was the best goal of the night. Some are saying there's not even a contest about it. But, well, there were some stunning goals in this match from the Netherlands. Which one was your pick? You can pick between, of course, that brilliant header from Robin van Persie. Or you can pick Arjen Robben's second goal, where he single-handedly ran half the park. Or De Vrij's first goal in the World Cup. Well, some would say a lucky strike, but he was there to do the job. Also, how would you describe Robin van Persie's stunning header? Don't just say the Flying Dutchman. Come up with something more innovative than that. Tweet with your caption with the hashtag Carnival 2014. We'll try to take those best ones on the show today. Eric, let's start with you. What a display of football from the Dutch. We'll talk about Spain and the deficiencies in just a bit, but just describe what you saw from the Netherlands.
What I saw with the Netherlands or the Dutch was amazing. I mean, it was a true delight. Such a game is everybody would love to see. I mean, look what they did. I was just talking about the 4 Ps last night.
Yeah.
I was talking about pass, possession, position, and pace. Now, pace is the word.
Yes, they beat them on pace.
They beat them completely on pace. And if you see how they counter-attacked.
Yes, brilliant.
I mean, Louis van Gaal, hats off to that man. What a great technician. Now, what he did is, he knew that Spain would come. And he beat them at their own game with counter-attack. And the pace that Robin had, and the way Robin van Persie, look at that goal. I mean, he just did it perfect.
He dived like a dolphin, people are saying.
He dived like a dolphin, yes, he did. And this goal would be a goal that we would remember.
For a long, long time.
For a very, very long time. It will be written in the books of the World Cup in history.
And it was really this goal that changed it all for the Netherlands, Ashley. One wonders if this goal hadn't come right at the start, right before the break, just how the Dutch would have handled, you know, being 1 goal down. This goal by Robin van Persie changed it all for them.
Yeah, it certainly did. I mean, it's a big psychological boost. If you score just before half-time, the whole spirit of the squad is a completely different complexion. You know, they go in there at half-time, if they were 1-0 down, they know it's going to be tough to break down the team. But with that lift just before half-time, like you say, it gives them, you know, immense spirit going in, and it really gives them belief that they could go out there to win it. It was a fantastic performance, a fantastic tactical battle. You know, Van Gaal's done really well on. They played the 3-5-2. whilst they were in possession, but out of possession they dropped back to a 5-3-2 if you like, but they managed to bring Robin and Van Persie back wide, which still gave them the strength in the middle of the park so they could go and press the ball and win the ball high up the field, and then obviously the transition once they win the ball back to put that into attack as quick as they did and then go and win the goals was just a fantastic performance.
Ashley, were you surprised at all? What was the most surprising part of the match for you? The fact that the Dutch played as well as they did, or the fact that Spain's defending was as poor as it was?
I think the most surprising thing for me was the way Holland defended. You're getting Van Persie and Robin to come back wide in wide areas. It was almost like they played 5-5-0 when they didn't have the ball. They were really tight. Because Robin and Van Persie came back in wide areas, it meant the three in the middle of the park could go and press the ball and win the ball back off Spain, which tried to restrict Spain's possession. So it was the tactical side of the game I found the most surprising and the most entertaining. It was really good to watch in a tactical and technical detail. So it was really good for a learning curve as well, if you like.
Yes, before I go to Boria Majumdar and also our special guest joining us from Australia, noted sports author Roy Hay is joining us. We'll talk to him especially about Australia's game. But Ashley, first up, Eric has a question for you.
Ash, we've been noticing the possession rate among teams. Now, what's happened is, in the last game, Spain had almost 65%, approximate 64.5% is what the stats say. And still they could not, do what the Dutch did with 34.5%. How do you see that?
What you're finding now is people are aware that a lot of teams play narrow and they try and pack the midfield and have a lot of possession, but possession ultimately doesn't win you football matches. It's what you do with that possession and in what areas you get the possession. What Holland did really, really well is they forgive a little bit of possession in Spain's half with Van Persie and Robin dropping back. But what they did do, as soon as they won the ball, they played really, really quick in transition and they tried to catch them on a counter and attack, which is probably a similar kind of technique you'll probably see the English take tonight. So, possession's all well and good, but it's the areas they put in possession. It's final third entries, it's penalty box entries, and if you looked on those kind of stats, they might not have been there for Spain. So it's all right picking out individual stats. It's the collective stuff really that builds into who wins and who loses the football match.
Right, Boria, your comments on the spectacular display of football in last night's match. No one really expected this to happen. This is by far a historic loss for Spain. Can they recover from this? And has this completely annihilated their dreams of achieving that quadruple?
Friday the 13th will now have a new connotation in Spain. That date will now be remembered in Spanish football history for completely different reasons. Having said that, I absolutely believe they have the potential to recover. 2008, 2010, 2012, 3 major championships, several Champions League titles for several players in this competition. Yes, they were annihilated, they were hammered, they were humiliated, damaged, destroyed, all of that. But yes, this team has the potential to come back. This is a quality side. It was stunning. You and I were tweeting at 3 a.m. last night constantly because all of us were taken aback, right? 500 to 1 odds, and what happened was a completely stunning display of football. This is what you want from a World Cup. If it was a 2-1 or if it was a 1-0, you would have said, okay, one team has won. Everyone is sitting up and taking notice. That's what the Brazil World Cup ordered. It is absolutely what the doctor ordered. The whole world is talking about this game. Everyone is talking FIFA 2014 because of Arjen Robben, Robin van Persie and the Dutch, the way they played. Now it's time for Spain to come back and show some mettle.
Yes, the good thing is, Eric, the groups really after Holland is not that tough. But you had a comment to make.
Yeah, I completely agree with Boria, what he has to say, because what we did see is that, yes, they got defeated. The Spaniards got completely dished out in their own game. They played possession, but they accepted defeat with grace. Now, you got out there, Casillas going out and saying, okay, I accept it. It's my fault. And how many times do we see such a thing happening? In such a big platform. He went out there and said, you know what, I take the onus of this.
And Del Bosque, towards the end of the match, he was patting his voice saying, we'll recover from this.
And there was also a comment that Del Bosque made in the morning, which was like, okay, we got defeated, but the whole team will work towards it and we'll find a way. So that's what is the beautiful
That's the
part about
attitude you
this.
need really after such a loss. Roy Hay is joining us from Australia. Roy, before we talk about Australia and their campaign, your comments on the kind of victory that the Dutch have managed to, pocket first up, and Casillas coming out and taking responsibility. He was quite shoddy really in that match.
Well, the Dutch performance was outstanding. I agree with your other panelists who have been saying that these statistics can disguise what is happening as well as illuminate it. That was certainly the case in the Australian game, where Chile had the vast majority of possession, something like 2/3 over the game as
a whole. But in passages in the game, there's no doubt that Australia, once it got over its initial nervousness, which led to the first 2 goals, then played extremely well, particularly in the first half of the second half. They really had Chile on the ropes for long periods.
Right. Roy, we'll come and talk about Australia. We'll take more comments from you. Ashley, I wanted to come back to you. What about the Dutch now? How can they sustain this momentum, and where will you rank them now as far as the list of favourites are concerned?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're going to be hugely lifted now by morale. They're going to have some real belief in the side. They're going to really fancy their chances. They know they've got quick attacking players now that can score goals. If they can carry on defending like they did, you've got to back them to be there or thereabouts. It's the key will be how they recover. We all know about the weather and the humidity. If they can get the recovery right and they can make sure they can maintain that level of performance, then I'm sure they're going to go quite close.
Yes, Eric, one big win can really change your campaign. One big loss can do that as well. But Dutch are really one of the firm favourites now.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's now looking at them. I mean, especially the Manchester United fans after what RVP did last night. I mean, yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they can bring on. Because there was an interesting comment by Van Gaal. It said, it's just the beginning. And now we got to look at the next game. So let's see how they progress. And it's a long way. It's not just going to happen with one game out there.
But Ashley, the problems for Spain, what would your advice be? I mean, we've asked the question, many have asked the question about the aging side, but there's so much talent in the side. They've done that in the past. There's Iniesta, there's Xavi. What can they do really? And why did they fail so badly?
I think the age will help them now. When you're older, you're a lot wiser and you can recover from defeats a lot quicker. If you're young and you suffer a damaging defeat like that, it can affect you for days, weeks, even months ahead. There's a lot of experience in that team. There's a lot of people that have seen there, done it, so I'm sure they're going to recover nice and quickly. And they do know that if they win the next 2 games, and there's a strong chance they'll go through and it'll all be forgotten. So I expect them to bounce back quickly. And I would be, fearful if I was the next team to play Spain, because they're going to want some retribution from this.
Yes, Saurav Ganguly, former India captain and co-owner of Atletico de Kolkata, is joining us. Saurav, you, Boria, Eric, everybody was rooting for Spain. Not many give the Dutch a big chance, but they just showed everyone, isn't it?
Come again with the question, Shivani, once more.
I was just saying that the Dutch completely shocked everyone, because not many gave them a lot of chance, including our panel.
Oh yeah, I think it was an absolute brutal performance, to be honest. You say that in sport, and they were by far the best team yesterday. If you remember yesterday when we spoke in the evening, you spoke about Spain being an aging team, and when I watched the game yesterday, I will totally be honest enough to say that I've seen a little bit of spark on that, but I hope, as it happens in sport, great players, great teams come back, Spain will come back as well. And I think yesterday's victory of Holland against Spain was not just good news for Holland, but it also was good news for Man United, because the coach of Holland will go on to become the coach of Man United. So I think there are a lot of people having a smile on the face after yesterday's game. But let's not write big teams out. Yesterday for Holland, Van Persie and Robin were outstanding. I thought they put up a magical performance on the field. That first goal was an absolute blinder. So it was great to see the way Holland played. I believe if you see the last 20 minutes of the game yesterday, I thought Holland played even better and played with a lot of confidence. So from my point of view, I can see Holland getting better, which I think is a good sign for this World Cup. Spain will have to work hard to come back. Sometimes such big losses are a massive wake-up call. You know, you've seen great teams in the past get that shock early on and recover and come back, and hopefully Spain does that, because there are a lot of quality players in that side, a lot of great players in that side, and a lot of egos must have been hurt yesterday night.
Yeah, but Spain's last such bad defeat, heavy defeat, was in 1963. 6-3 against Scotland, really the heaviest defeat in a long time, margin of 4 goals. But the last time, Eric, they conceded more than 3 goals in a World Cup match was way back in 1950.
But you know what, I agree to Dada, because he rightly said it, that it's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
And these guys have a history and a legacy of doing well, so I'm sure they'll bounce back.
All right, we were asking our viewers about their comments from last night's match. First up, we asked our viewers just which one was their favourite goal from the match. Was it that brilliant header from Robin van Persie, Robin's second, which was outstanding as well, or De Vrij's very opportunistic goal at the post? Tweet with the hashtag Carnival2014 and your choice. And you can also give us a caption for that brilliant, stunning header from Robin van Persie. Again, tweet with hashtag Carnival2014. Let's also give our viewers something to think about before we go into a break. Here's our question number 4 for weekly contest number 1, which is the only team to have played the World Cup qualifying matches from Asian, African, Oceanian and European continental zones. You can send us your answers via SMS, SMS HLTCB space your correct answer to 52424. 3 lucky winners get selected Adidas merchandise. But that's not all. Maruti Suzuki Swift is on offer as well. The swiftest participant with maximum correct answers in our 5 weekly contest will walk away with that car. On that note, we're going to slip into a very short break. We'll talk a little bit more about the other 2 matches last night and final comments on Holland's brilliant victory. So much action in the first few matches itself. Let's quickly first show our viewers the results we're getting for our poll of the day. We asked the viewers to pick their best goal from last night's Holland victory. And well, not too surprising, 90% saying RVP's header was the best, 10% still saying Robin's second was absolutely great. No votes for De Vrij's goal. Probably understandable. He's competing with 2 of the most brilliant goals we've seen in the World Cup so far. Let's quickly take a quick look at some of the other results from last night. Now, the third South American team in the tournament, Chile, started their World Cup campaign with a win, defeating Australia 3-1 in the second Group B match. That was last night. Chile dominated most of the second half as well. Despite several chances, Aussies failed to convert the passes and find an equalizer. There you can see the final score. A goal in extra time from substitute Bozior was cherry on cake for Chile as they ended up with a scoreline of 3-1. Eric, a quick comment about this one. A good game, this, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't expect the Aussies to do so well. I mean, especially the Socceroos. I mean, these guys just kind of came back and they got a little unlucky, like our friend back in Australia said. I mean, in the second part of the second half, they came back. And once they gave away those 2 goals, I mean, they wanted to come back in the game, but they just got a little short of what.
Yes, Roy, you were talking about that Australia defeat. Tell us how fans are taking it and how you would adjust Australia's what the damage that Australia can do in the World Cup still to go.
I think went into the competition with relatively low expectations and great deal of hope, and I'd suggest that as a result of that game, the expectations won't have changed. But I think there will be a moderation in the hope. But what I would like to stress is that for much of the second half, if you looked at Sampaoli, the Chilean coach, you could not say that he was happy with the situation. He seemed to be extremely nervous because Chile needed to get all 3 points from that match. Otherwise, their campaign would have been seriously derailed. And up until Beausejour scored in injury time, the Chilean coach was not a happy camper.
Yes, that was a brilliant victory, a good required victory for Chile. Roy Hay, thanks a lot for joining us. He'll be back with us to give us his sense of how the Australian campaign is going. Very quickly, let's take a look at the other result from last night as well. Mexico beating Cameroon 1-0 in their Group A opening clash. However, in the second half, Mexico overcame the setback of having 2 early goals harshly disallowed to beat Cameroon 1-0 with a second half strike by Oribe Peralta and join Brazil at the top of Group A. Slipping into a very short break now. Of course, we have lots more to talk about on this 1-hour preview. We'll also talk about and take a deeper dive into England versus Italy coming up later tonight.